Joyfully Empowered is about feeling uplifted, inspired, and connected to your intuition. This is the place where dreams are possible, cups are half full, and community is solid. Topics include spirituality, leadership, feminine wealth, intuition, manifestation, and our sacred work. This is where bold self starters come to refill their je ne sais quoi to continue spreading a little magic to the world. I am Stephanie Verchot, your host, a spicy Latina, mom, and relentless about supporting people achieving their dreams by following their intuition. Welcome to Joyfully Empowered, my friends. I am so excited to be back. I am recording live in New York City. So if you hear some honks and horns and, sounds of what it's like to live in the city, then we're just going to welcome them in. Today's episode is all about falling in love with yourself and going back to basics when life feels like it's lifing, when life feels difficult, challenging, when life feels like you're in the unknown. I don't know if when you're when you get older versus when you're younger that you're sort of just living and doing all the things and you are just surfing with life to an extent and maybe not thinking like, oh, a year from now or 2 years from now, maybe in a few things, maybe you're thinking like, I want to be married or I want to go to grad school or I want to have kids. Maybe there are some things like that that you have the awareness, but other than that, you're just like going to work and going out and, having fun and kind of being a little laid back and laissez-faire about things. But after a certain point, at least in my own life, you're thinking about really, what do I need to set up in my life today so I have it a year from now, right? What do I have the forethought or the foresight to think about what is the strategy to be able to be where I want to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? What are the things that are really important and intentional? How do I continue getting to know myself, right? So it doesn't feel like life is happening to you and you're half like loosey goosey about things, but you really are focused, intentional, and strategic about certain things, right? So there's that aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that sometimes, things happen in life that you you just have to trust and surrender. And I have an episode on this called When Life Demands Trust, which is, you have things in place, you are organized, you are being strategic, and then something happens that completely takes you completely takes you out of it. And you are like, this is where I really need my book of life. And what happens then, right? And those are the moments that, because sometimes things feel so up in the air, that I feel like we can really use, well, you always have the choice to where you can get caught up in it and get stressed and anxious and triggered and being like, WTF is going on, and really sort of get caught up in the intensity of it all. Or you can observe the intensity of it all and then commit to fall in love with yourself, fall in love with life, and go back to the basics. And that's what I want to talk about today. So, before we get started, let me just give you a couple of updates because this has been so interesting and so fun. And I always love to give you a little personal, little personal tea on all the things that are going on. So, I recently did an event with this beautiful brand, L'Occitane, and it's a skincare body brand. They have, body products, skincare products, luxury. They're awesome. I love them. I have been a customer of them for years. But here's how this came about, because these are the things that I don't think business owners talk about enough. Or if you have, if there's something that you want to do. So there is a beautiful store, that a location of L'Occitane in Upper West Side. I'm here all the time. And I walk by it all the time, and it's beautiful. It's on Columbus, and I love that store. And a few weeks ago, I was walking down the store and I had this ping, this like little tap in the shoulder intuitively to go connect with the manager and see if they were opening to doing some kind of partnership. I'm a coach. I do a lot of things when it comes to like wellness and personal growth and things that are very aligned with like lifestyle of the brand. So I was walking down with Dylan Joy, of course, who was falling asleep on the stroller, but I go in, the store wasn't busy. I asked us to speak with the manager. I introduced myself. Then I said, look, this is what I do. I work with brands. I come, I come from big brands like L'Occitane. And right now I'm a coach. I do wellness events. I partner with brands. I think we could do something along, spirituality and aromatherapy and wellness and really bring the neighborhood together at your beautiful location that I found out it was relatively new. So she said, yes, I would love to connect with you. I would love to do an event with you. And we did an event here about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We got this awesome goodie bags and I walked them through their favorite products. They have like this lavender hand lotion. I'm doing, by the way, an episode on all of my favorite skincare things next week. So keep an eye out because I'm going to be talking about these luxury art items that I love. But they have a delicious lavender lotion. They have like an almond body oil that I love after you get out of the shower. And it was just literally me going in. I was like, I wasn't nervous, but I guess, you always get a little bit feeling away if they say no, thank you. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. If she says no, we're not doing this, or no, we have this, and I would be like, okay, great. I love the brand. Thank you for your time, and you move on. So if you've been wanting to work with a brand, if you've been wanting to apply to a school, if you've been wanting to reach out to somebody to be your mentor, just send them an email, knock on their door, ask. This is the sign you've been wanting. If you've been wanting to ask something that feels a little intimidating, a little scary, just by listening to my story, go and ask. I literally opened the door. I asked to speak to the door manager. I gave them my credentials. Obviously, I'm an expert in what I do. So I wasn't trying to like be something that I'm not, telling them that this is the value that I need to bring to the brand, that I will bring to the brand. The event was great. We're going to do it again for Mother's Day. FYI, if you're listening to this. And so go and ask. But it was interesting because in the event, one of my great clients. We used to work together maybe a year or two ago, and we become friends. Her name is Daly, and she totally is okay me sharing this with her. I shared a testimonial of her on my Instagram. Check it out. But her name's Daly Quinn. She is an incredible journalist. We worked together for a few years, and I help her build, a multi 5-figure business. And I love working with her. By the way, if you want to work together, go to the bottom, go to the show notes, apply. It'll take you 2 minutes to work with me. It'll take you to the calendar link that you can schedule a discovery call with me. And we can talk about what it's like working together because I'm currently taking clients. But back to my story, my sweet friend, Daly, with one of her other friends who owns this newspaper called The Intentional Muse, just like a little plug. It's this beautiful newspaper. It's 1111 a month. Love angel number. Kaylee is the owner of the Intentional Muse and subscribe to the newspaper. I just subscribe. I'm going to be getting it every month. I'm so excited. It's awesome. But Daily Ken with her friend Kaylee. Okay, great. So we were talking and Daily got married not too long ago. And I was telling her how, I was talking to her about Dylan Joy and I was telling her that for the first time, and like my daughter just turned 3 about a month ago. And I had to go for the first time and leave her, go on a trip and leave her with my husband because my aunt had passed away in Switzerland. And it was the first time that I had left her for it was like 2 or 3 nights, 2 nights, 3 nights, 3 days. It was a very short trip to Europe, but I was really nervous about it. And I almost didn't go because I was really, I don't know if nervous was the word, but I felt a way about leaving my daughter overnight. And it was a really big decision for me. And I think these are one of the things that as you are a mom or as you become a mom, you'll be like, oh yeah, I understand. Or maybe like for you will be easier to leave your kid overnight. For me, it was difficult. And I did it and I'm so happy I did it. And now that I'm back, I just see the shift and she is just something clicked in her. She became like even more independent, even closer with my husband. And like, oh, they always had like such a close relationship, but something shifted in the relationship, something shifted in our relationship for the best way. But when I was talking to Daily about it, one of her friends, I guess, she had invited her to go to a wedding, and she asked me to talk about this. So here we are. And her friend was like, "Oh, I just had a baby a few months ago, and I don't want to leave my baby." And if you don't have kids, it's really hard, I think, to understand why it's hard to leave your baby behind, right? It's like it's a little baby. They're not going to remember. They're going to be fine. What's the big deal? As a mom, it's just like this feeling of I think it's like mama bear coming out, right? And being like, are they going to be okay? There's all these things to do. I mean, and 3 is obviously older than an infant and a total baby. 3 is like you have a little toddler. But I think it's just your mom instincts that come out. So if you have friends that have kids and you invite them to their wedding or to a bachelorette or to a party or to a thing and they say no, just give them love and say, I don't understand you, but I respect you and I love you. And thank you for honoring your women intuition. Because I think society has such a narrative around leave your kids and go on date nights and like take vacation with your partners and like maybe all those things, but that may not be for you, and like for better or worse, like you get to choose what you want to do as a mom, as a parent, right? Like my husband and I, the dates we do like day dates, and we go to brunch or sometimes we go to breakfast or like we'll get a coffee and we'll leave Dylan Joy in the morning because we've done like a couple of things at nighttime, but like she hasn't spent the night at any of her friends. We don't have family like in town. I mean, we have friends that are like family and I would trust them to stay with Dylan Joy overnight, but we're not there yet. And I am not about to feel pressured for society to be like, they'll be more independent and it's great for them. And it's like, maybe, but I still get to listen to my intuition and follow what feels right for me. So for moms, follow your intuition. There is no best way to go about it, is what works best for you and your kid. And for, you know, people that are listening that are single or they don't have kids, either they want to have kids or they may never have kids and you have friends with kids, it is different, and I think, I've had to do that in my own friendships. But you adapt, you have to reinvent your friendships, right? Like friends of mine that have kids, we've had to reinvent the way we hang out because now we have kids that we're bringing to dates, and sometimes like our kids stay with the husbands and like the girls go out. Other times we're like, let's go to a museum and catch up. And then my friends that are single or my friends that don't have kids, they sometimes, I'm like, listen, I love to see you, but Dylan Joy's going to be there, and all of them are, they're like totally cool with it. Other times I'm like, okay, can you meet me, like Saturday or Sunday at like 9 in the morning for coffee because I'm on my way to the office and that's when I can see you. And then we do that as well. So you have to find ways to reinvent your friendships when you have kids. And also, like I said before, and I'll say it again before moving on, like if your friends cannot come to your wedding or your bachelorette or your bridal shower because they don't want to leave their babies behind, just be understanding because it really can be difficult. And I think you can be like, look, I love to see you and I'm obviously sad that you're not going to make it. Let's go to brunch. Let's go get ice cream. Let's get a cocktail for a couple of hours and like do not worry, we're fine, because it's really hard and it takes a lot of like inner work. And I think that if I didn't do the work that I do, being a coach, and just really understand my patterns and my triggers, I would have not left for Switzerland. And I think for me it's like a special trigger because, and I've talked about this before, but my mom died when I was little, and I have a big trigger around leaving because what if I don't come back? Like that's a very real fucking thing for me right now. And I have to work through it. And I'm going to places and I'm traveling. My daughter's at daycare and I'm very healthy about my trigger, but it's not an easy thing to navigate. So if you have trauma and triggers about abandonment, it is really hard, and you still get to evolve and heal through your trauma for your kids and your family, but it doesn't make it an easy process. Like when I went to Switzerland, I was in it, I was through it, and I'm so thankful for my little sister Vanessa, huge shout out for her because she was such a huge support system in like acknowledging my feelings, seeing my feelings, and being like, I'm so proud of you for you doing this, right? Like you're working through a trauma for you as a mom, for Dylan Joy, for her to be stronger. And I'm like, hell yes, I am. And I was still crying and like, so trauma will be there with you forever. There are tools that support you in holding the trauma, but it don't mean that the trauma is going to go away. It just means that you get to live with it and be healthy around it versus continuing to like traumatize yourself through whatever it is your trauma might be. You know what I mean? So, okay, so let's get into things to, you know, you hear it all the time about like fall in love with yourself. And I'm like, I am falling in love with myself. But let's talk about what that means. Let's talk about what that means. Um, Falling in love, it's when you think about falling in love, it's like the butterflies, the giggles, the flirtiness, the rose colored glasses, the it's all going to be okay, we're in this together, it's us against the world, we will figure this out. And if you think about like the actual falling in love, or the most popular phase of falling in love is the beginning. Because then I think about my relationships romantically with my husband, or even my relationships, um what's the word? Non-romantic. Why can I think of the word? Platonic relationships with my friends. You fall in love, like I fall in love with my husband 12 years later, like 12 years later after we met, or 14 years later after we met, deeper in different ways, right? But it's not the same as like the butterflies and like like that first 6 months to a year. Like, I don't, maybe for you, I think for us, for me at least, there's different ways. Like, yes, every once in a while, I still get butterflies, or I see him through like, oh my God, but going back to yourself, what all of that to say is that you're going to have phases that you love yourself, and you're gentle and you're flirty with yourself, and you're like taking baths and like being, going on walks and being super feminine and eating delicious food. There are other phases in your life that you're going to be a little bit more strict and a little maybe like slightly more judgmental towards yourself, and those are all aspects of falling in love with yourself. But I think when I'm talking about falling in love with yourself and going back to the basics, is can you be alone and content and satisfied, right? Like, are you good with your own company? Right? Like, can you go to a lunch by yourself? And I'm not talking about like, oh my God, it's so nervous. I'm so nervous. What are people going to say? Which that can happen. But it's more about like, how are you in your own skin? Right? Like, how much do you love yourself? Do you appreciate yourself? Do you treasure and nurture who you are? And that's like going back to the basics. So I'm going to put a link that you can download, the Wheel of Feminine Wealth, because I love it. Has like 8 different areas that include personal growth, health and vitality, relationships, which can be both like intimate relationships or social, spirituality, creativity and expression, impact, right? Like the impact that you're making in your community around you, and then finances, because finances are like a big part of our life, right? And I want you to download the wheel. It's like a little pizza pie wheel, and you can rate yourself 1 to 10. 10, I'm super satisfied with this area. 1, I am not. Because sometimes, in the process of falling in love with yourself, you have to figure out what are the areas that you're like, here I am a 10, right? When it comes to health and vitality, I'm moving my body, I'm drinking my water, I am sleeping, I am eating, I am da da da. When it comes to my financial freedom, I have credit card debt, I am overspending, I don't have a budget, I'm always overdrawn. Ooh, here's an area of improvement, right? So, not all 8 areas that make up your life are going to be a 1, just like not all areas that make up your life are going to be a 10. But once you do the Wheel of Feminine Wealth, it'll help you get super clear. There's 2 or 3 areas that are really difficult for me right now. And then you can prioritize, okay, I'm going to focus on my finances, or I'm going to focus on my relationships, or I'm going to focus on my creativity. Like, when was the last time that I was creative in my life, that I wrote a poem, that I took a painting class, that I took a pottery class. Like it's been forever. Okay. Right. And then from there, you can start on a journey of like falling in love with yourself. So when you do the feminine wealth wheel, you're going to pick an area and maybe you give yourself 30 days, or I love doing like 40-day rituals where you pick three things that you're committing to doing, right? Because the idea is you fall in love with yourself because you are looking at the areas of your life, you're no longer avoiding them or ignoring them, but the areas of your life that feel difficult and that feel like you are ignoring them, avoiding them, you are going to nurture them. You're going to connect with yourself. You are going to honor those areas of your life, right? We're not 12 anymore, where we're like 7, where we don't know any better, right? And we need to wait until somebody tells us, like, do this. We are grown adults. So let's do a little audit of your life. Pick an area that you've been avoiding that feels hard, that it feels like it's easier to avoid, and say, like, no, I'm going to commit to this area for the next 40 days and I'm going to see my life transform, right? Now, when it comes to the things about going back to basics that I talked about, it's committing to moving your body daily. Like we know this is part of like wellness and mental health and things that it just makes us feel good for so many reasons, both like scientific and not, right? Commit to sleeping, right? Like no more of this scrolling until 1 in the morning. So you wake up tired at 8 and put on like some whatever, sweatpants and like good to work. No, right? Have higher standards for yourself. Get a, big bottle of water. Drink your damn 100 ounces of water every day, right? Commit to lowering and limiting your screen time. Like we know that's addictive. We know that it zaps our creativity. We know that it numbs you. Like, what are we doing, people, right? Commit to home cooking and trying new recipes once a week, right? Commit to eating a salad with like delicious veggies every day for lunch, right? Commit to feeling good. Commit to forgiveness and looking at others with eyes of compassion, right? Write a poem to your friend and send it on the mail to them. Write a poem to your favorite people in your life and mail it to them. Or do a beautiful drawing. And it doesn't have to be beautiful as in like beautifully aesthetic, but like do a drawing and put it in the mail and let somebody get it. Write a funny card that made you think of a friend and put it in the mail. And, just like doing little things that go to, be in nature. Like we know it makes us feel good. Take your damn vitamins, right? We know it makes us feel good and we are just a little lazy about it, like my life and this, I deserve a pint of ice cream at midnight. I mean, maybe every once in a while, but you know what you deserve at midnight? To be asleep, fast asleep, cozy, wrapped up, cuddled up, with the AC very cold, like I like. That's what you deserve at midnight, you know? You deserve to not be on Instagram for 12 hours a day. That's what you deserve. You deserve to have your biological age of, I don't know, 23 or 17, That's what you deserve. Your bones deserve to be in good shape. You deserve to have flexibility in your body and to have a spine that feels nurtured and cared for. So take a hard look at your life. And this is such a great time. It's the beginning of spring, right? We had our little winter months of being cooped up and cuddled up and, doing all the cozy things. Take a look at your life, clean it up, right? Own the life that you want to have and start focusing on it, working at it, being intentional about it. So I hope this was like a little bit of a wake up call, of owning your life, honoring yourself, committing to the things that really matter to you, committing to it and doing them daily. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you got exactly what you wanted out of it. Forward it to a friend that could use this message. Leave me a review, please, on wherever it is you're listening, whether it's Apple or Substack or Spotify. Leave me a review. Those are so helpful. Pass the word, share it, love it. If you're interested in hiring me as your coach, we can focus on feminine wealth and these 8 areas of your life. I am currently taking brand new clients. You can send me a DM at Stephanie Rochelle on Instagram, or you can fill out the application that I will put down here. It'll take you about 2 to 3 minutes. It'll take you to a link where you can book a discovery call with me. We'll get on the phone. I'll get to hear your goals, and I'll share with you all the details. You can ask me any questions, and we can literally start right away. This is what I'm here to do, right? Let's clean up your life, whether you are a business owner, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, whether you're an executive, but let's up level. Let's commit to your happiness, to your joy, to the things that allow you to live a life that it's freeing, that it's wealthy, that is joyful, and that it's authentic with who you are. May you have an incredible week. May you follow your joy always and in all ways. Take care, my friends, and see you so soon.